Hi everybody, Lone Wolf here, welcome back to the channel. Today's topic revolves around the benefits and advantages of living alone and how it can be an essential lifestyle for your development, self-determination and progression. Firstly, it teaches you to be self-sufficient and responsible, but also educates you about true freedom and independence. I've learned this from personal experience and that of other people in my network. Growing up, my siblings and I were pretty well looked after in terms of household chores and jobs. And despite having to do the washing up once in a while, we were never really forced to do all that much. My mum was very laid back when we were kids and didn't see any point in making a big deal about it, whereas my dad, on the other hand, used to fly off the wall once in a while and become irate when mum didn't back him up. He always used to stress that when we got older, we wouldn't be able to look after ourselves and our house would be a dump and all this and that. This tirade would usually be launched after we left the table to go and play Xbox, with him shouting up the stairs, "These plates don't wash themselves." I used to want to live on my own just to stop the hassle. Fortunately, when I did get a place on my own during my university studies, I was miraculously able to fend for myself. Having never really cooked, cleaned or done my own laundry, I taught myself and just got on with the job, and now I actually enjoy doing these tasks. I like listening to music or having a YouTube video on or podcast in the background while I clean the kitchen. I tolerate hoovering the place and ironing clothes, but occasionally we have to do things we don't like. A decade ago, when living at the family home, I was a bit OCD towards books, DVDs, Blu-rays and video games, and still am to an extent. They all have to be organised in a certain way, be neat and tidy on the shelf, maintaining a natural order. I see this as a good thing, not necessarily a drawback, and I've essentially built on that with my responsibilities now that I rent my own place. Now, if you're like I was and didn't have to do much when you were growing up, you can go one of two ways when you move out. You'll either live in a complete pigsty and probably get thrown out by your landlord, or learn to take care of yourself and be responsible, purely out of necessity. This will also depend on the company you keep. If you live with 12 other students in your university halls of residence, it can be nigh on impossible to keep the place clean and organised. To paraphrase Jordan Peterson, cleaning your room or dwelling is one of the first steps towards mastery of your own kingdom. There is this pervasive notion that as men in particular, we need someone to look after us or keep us on the straight and narrow, and in recent years I've seen a couple more acquaintances tie the knot in marriage. It really does make me feel genuine sorrow almost, even though I don't really like one of the guys. I'd like to reinforce the view that as men, many of us can take care of ourselves and thrive on doing the cooking, cleaning, washing, taking out the trash, etc. We can manage just fine by ourselves and don't need quote-unquote saving. Although it was difficult at first when I moved out because the peace and quiet is a shock to the system, and anyone who does live on their own will attest to that, after a week or two of adjustment, I wouldn't change it for the world. I think the initial disturbance was due to the fact that I'd spent all my life in a generally busy household, not without its share of arguments at times, but there was always company all of the time. Within a week, though, I'd completely adjusted and grown accustomed to the unfettered freedom from living on my own. In fact, it puzzles me now that some people can't stand to be alone, how certain people need to be looked after. This statement is demeaning in a way, in that to suggest I need looking after insults my ability to be self-sufficient. Nothing beats getting home to an empty apartment or condo and having the place to myself. I enjoy my own company and have so much on my plate with work, hobbies, passions, life goals and so on that I really don't have time to have a full house. If I came home to a wife, kids and all that, I fear that my life would not truly be mine. I wouldn't be able to listen to music when I want, watch what I want, work until the early hours of the morning, entertain friends and dates and so on. I mean, literally every day is a new challenge, a new surprise. I don't know what I'm doing or where I'm going, and it's so reassuring to know that I'm captain of my own ship. I've heard many stories of married guys who never have any time to themselves, who have their off days and weekends decided for them. Everything is planned out. Now, as a supporter of self-determination and libertarianism, I aspire as much as possible to be in charge of my own destiny, free from being told what to do. This philosophy underpins the principles of this channel, the lone wolf mentality, the lone wolf lifestyle. Yes, a wolf can function as a social creature, as a key part of the pack, but they can be efficient and successful on their own. It is important, of course, to maintain relationships. Family ties are absolutely crucial. I have very strong relationships with my immediate family and regularly video call them throughout this ongoing global situation. They come and visit me often and we hang out. I'd even happily live with my brother again, no problem. I just feel very satisfied living on my own. Those of you that live in condos will also understand the shared premises mentality that is at work. There are often people to talk to around the place and you recognise familiar faces. I also associate with work colleagues and friends on a regular basis. What you need to truly be aware of is people, often women, moving into your place by the back door. As soon as the toothbrush gets left in the bathroom, you could be too late. I'm not against dating by any means, and I'm certainly not against women. My own philosophy is very similar to a lot of people in this space, like Richard Cooper, in that I'm against moving in with a woman and certainly won't ever get married. I do, however, find the company of women highly valuable and rewarding, provided it's the right person. When I was at university, I would sometimes go to a friend's place after our weightlifting training session. He lived in a large house with 5 other students, all of them younger than me by about 5 years. I was a mature student, about 24 at the time. The difference in maturity was astounding. I walked into their living room for the first time and was shocked at how much of a dump the place was. I didn't even want to look in the fridge. If you're going to live with roommates, flatmates, whatever, screen them carefully and make sure you don't get losers, wasters, or people that generally have no self-respect. It really is ideal to live alone if possible. Near the end of my studies, I had to stay in a spare room at another friend's house for 2 weeks while I was finishing up some research. For that entire fortnight, I had to try and sleep with a dude playing Borderlands at high volume in the attic above. I was only there temporarily and wasn't paying much towards the bill, so I didn't feel like I could say anything. What's more, I hadn't even met the guy in person. I was out all day in the lab, and he never left the attic. I've come a long way since then, and no longer have to deal with any of that garbage. If I want to stay up, I do what I want on my terms. Living alone, you don't experience the nagging of a girlfriend or a wife. You can cook what you want, when you want. The other day I watched football, soccer to my North American friends, non-stop for an entire day while I was doing some work. Being alone and loneliness are 2 completely different states of mind, and it is important to distinguish between the 2. I can have friends and family over to hang out as and when I want. All of the time is mine, and that is the most important factor. Time is the most valuable resource available to us. Every day is a mission to get better and be more than I was the day before. The concept that you need to have a woman in your life to complete you, as if I were somehow broken, is an insulting notion. Women are passengers that come along for the ride. If you want to join me on this journey, fine. If you don't, bye. I've got this priceless freedom and liberty, and the wrong kind of companion could completely destroy that. People that jump down your throat about loneliness, listen people. Everybody dies, everybody passes away eventually, and for the most part they face it alone. I don't care how many people you know, how many awesome friends you have, we all face death alone. I taught myself this mindset a long time ago, and it's something that we just have to deal with. Yes, I do enjoy good company, but not every waking second of every day. I like my alone time. As always, I hope you found my thoughts useful and informative. If you did, please consider liking the video or subscribing to the channel. Thanks for listening, and until next time, take care.